We don't just treat the injury. We treat the person behind that injury. And you're going to understand what that means today, not conceptually, but in your body through self-regulation practices that I'm going to show you here today, okay? Now, let's start off with something important, a frame of why these practices are so critical for not only chronic pain conditions, but also chronic stress patterns. Raise your hand if you guys know what stress feels like. Okay, it's going to help you. So what we want to understand is this. If you're going to understand self-regulation practices, you need to understand that there's two levels of medical care. These practices you're going to learn are part of the second level, but let's talk about the first level. The first level of care is symptom-focused, condition-based care, which is the biomedical model. And this model, the premise of this model is that there is a direct and linear relationship between the injury and the pain. And that's 100% correct in the acute phase. In fact, in emergency cases, these doctors save lives, right? They put people back together again, they make hearts work, they stop bleeding. It's amazing what they do. When you refer an injured worker to our office or center, we're going to address the condition. That's non-negotiable, but that's still level one care. Second level of medical care doesn't replace the first. It basically expands it. It brings in the reality of the human experience, how the body affects the mind, how the mind affects the body, and how social influences affect both. And this is called the biopsychosocial model. Now, this model doesn't just ask what condition does this person have. It asks a more important question in my mind. Who's the person that has the condition? When you ask that question, you start looking at that individual's biological individuality, their individual story of what they bring into that condition. And when you start looking at that, you start looking at things like, do they have diabetes? Do they have thyroid issues? Do they have autoimmune conditions? Do they have PTSD? Do they have chronic stress? How well are they regulating through all that? That right there is where we're going to hone in on today, is how well they regulate. Because how well you regulate determines not only how you're going to get through your day, but how well can you thrive and perform at a higher level in your day. And that's the goal here. Now, the most important thing about this model is it has a premise that more and more research is supporting. And the premise is this: the longer someone has pain, the longer pain persists, factors outside of that initial injury become more influential. They become a bigger issue in sustaining and amplifying not only the pain, listen closely, the stress response. Now, as a human being, we know that when we have more pain, we're not happy, right? We have more what? Stress. But the research is showing that when pain goes up, stress chemistry goes up. When stress chemistry goes up, pain sensitivity goes up. So what I want you to get is that they work hand in hand. They're just two different languages from the same survival circuitry. So just keep that in mind, that these practices that we're going to learn, they're going to help with both sides of that. All right. And the reason